Good evening, Shavua Tov. Because we are right now in the actuality of the war in Gaza, and we like to talk a little bit about this place in Eretz Israel, in the land of Israel, that there are question mark about them. Even I talk about this in the past, I would like to talk about this again with a little bit more detail. We said that there are three wholeness, three things that are connected together.
Has to be like one.
That each one of these three things have to be whole. We cannot cut a part of any one of these three things. And three things that are connected together. So there are two ways to talk about these three things. From one direction we will say that it is God. I took the number of Yudke Vavke, the Torah, and Am Israel. This is like one way to see this kind of Trinity. From another point of view, we will say that it is Am Israel, the Torah, and Eretz Israel, the land of Israel, Eretz Israel. Alright, so we talk about these three things, or these three things. It means the land of Eretz Israel came instead of the name of God. It's very important to understand that really the role of all creation is to reveal that the land is like God that giving himself to us. This is what we call the Holy Land. Alright, so the Torah always is something that's supposed to connect us to Am Israel, to connect the people of Israel, to connect this or to God or to the land. This is what the Torah is supposed to do, to show us how to be connected to God from one point of view, from our opposite point of view, how to connect Am Israel to the land of Israel.
Shamayim ve'aretz.
Yeah. So each one of these three things must to be whole. In the moment we damage each one of these three things, we damage the other part. Now I am going to show how it works, what I mean. Like I say, they are part of the land of Israel that it is a question mark to who they belong. We talk about the place called Yehuda, Shomron, Gaza. The acronym of these three places, Yehuda, Samaria, and Gaza, have the acronym of the name of Yeshua. Acronym of Yeshua. They used to call it Yesha, with not the vav of connection. And it's wrong, because when you have three things, Yehuda, Shomron, Gaza, the acronym is not Yesha, is Yeshua. It means because we have a damage with the soul of Israel, what is Yeshua? It's like we take part of Am Israel, of it's important soul of Am Israel, we give him away, we put him out of Am Israel, with the people together that believe in him as Mashiach. Am Israel make a disengagement from them, put them like out of Am Israel, it means we make a damage in the arm of Israel, in the nation of Israel. Because this, instead of calling Yeshua, we call it Yesha. It means we make a damage in the Torah. Because the way we call the thing in Hebrew, in the Holy Language, it's Torah. And if we give a wrong name to something, we do a damage in the Torah. Now, if we do a damage in the Torah, then we lost the land of Israel. Now I'm going to show what I mean. What is the difference of calling this place Yeshua or Yesha? It is written in Yeshayahu, it is a verse, Velo Yahel Sham Aravi. Will not live there Arabic. Will not put his tent there Arabic. Have the acronym of Yeshua. The 4 letters of the name Yeshua. If I call it Yesha instead of Yeshua, it means I take the Vav out. Instead of being will not live Arabic, the acronym that I will get will live there Arabic. That is Yesha. That is a place, the name, the way they call these 3 places, Yehuda, Shomron, and Gaza. It means it is a big difference if we call it Yesha of Yeshua. If we give the right name by the Torah to this place, the Torah will tell us, and all the creation is by what it is written in the Torah, that will not live there Arabic. But if I call it Yesha, the Torah told us that we live there Arabic. The big difference completely, this Vav make a difference of, we call it Vav Haipuch as well, the Vav of making things backwards. Instead of being something a positive, it become completely negative.
It's about how we interpret.
I mean,
the Torah.
the God looks the Torah and creates the world all the time. All right. So the way we analyze, the way we call the thing, this is the way the creation becomes, the reality becomes. So if we give a wrong name to something, it's very important. So the first damage, it was a damage with Am Yisrael. Second damage with the letter of the Torah, we call it Yesha instead of Yeshua. So we make a damage in the Torah, in the wholeness of the Torah. And then, because this, we lost the land of Israel. Part of the land of Israel that has to do with this name of Yeshua. Now, what we have left after we leave Gaza in the disengagement 9 years ago is Yosh. What is the acronym of Yehuda ושומרון. Now they call it in the right name because it is a Vav. It is Yehuda ושומרון, and now we call it Yosh, what is the same letter of Yeshu. The way we call Yeshua in Judaism after he lost the Ain. So we can see a similarity of Yeshua losing the Ain, that we talk about this in different lessons, and here in the land of Israel to lose the area that called Gaza. if you remember, I think 20 years ago, it was the agreement of Oslo, and then they decided to give Gaza and Jericho first.
So it's not 20 years, it's less.
No, it's 20 years.
Really?
Yeah. This was the motto, the logo of this agreement of Oslo. Gaza and Jericho first. Gaza plus Jericho equal Yeshua as well, the name of Jesus. Now, what represent Gaza and Jericho? It is written that Jericho is the key to conquer all Eretz Israel. The key. The Bikat HaYarden. This place is the most important place from the point of view of how you say?
Strategic?
Strategy, yeah. It means our sages said that if we give to the enemy Jericho, they can, after this, conquer all Eretz Israel very easily. It's why Yeshua start all the kibush, all the conquer of the land of Israel by this city called Jericho. This was the first place. But it is written that from the first place, God was thinking to take them from the land of Palestine, of Plishtim. The Plishtim of this time, it's not the Plishtim of today. I mean, people don't have to confuse about this. It's completely different nation, have nothing not to do with Arab, the Plishtim of this time. But because it was seen that it will be a too difficult war for the children of Israel to go from Gaza, so it is written that God don't take them for Gaza, and He took them from the other side, from Jericho. It means it's like another option from what place you are going to start to conquer all the land of Israel. To conquer all the land of Israel. It's like there are two keys to conquer all the land of Israel. To conquer.
Without D.
To conquer, all right. There are two options. One is too difficult. I mean, Am Israel is not just in the level of this kind of work that need azut, very strength, as it's meant to be like a lion, to be
strong.
To be strong. It's not just to be strong. It's have to do with chutzpah, with being not afraid of nobody, of being able to put paradox together too. Have to do with this word oz. All right, it's a very it demand kind of war that Am Yisrael was not in this level. So God preferred to start with this kind of war that it's like lowest level of
work. To start with work.
War. It's like this is like a madriga of Benoni, a middle. This is like a madriga of tzaddik, a righteousness. This is a medium. All right, we are not in this level of tzaddikim that we can achieve this kind of work. When I mean work, I mean the work of God. So we do this kind of work that it's more modest, to have to do with smell, reach, smell, to give a good smell, to be modest, right? Not to be aggressive, right?
Reach is the
it's
smell.
It's like this is work that have to do with the soul of Yaakov. This work that have to do more with the soul of Esav. All right, so we don't start of being Esav. We start of being Yaakov. After we can bring Esav to holiness too. As I have to do with Esav. All right, you understand this? Okay, so these two key of Eretz Israel equal Yeshua as well.
In Gematria.
in Gematria, 316. Now, we talked before about יהודה and שומרון. יהודה plus שומרון, what we call it Yosh. The gematria of these two places, יהודה plus שומרון, equal 632, what is 2 times Yeshua. It means the average value of this one of this place is Yeshua. Alright, so we show in different way how this land, that it is a question mark about to who it belongs, have to do with the soul of Yeshua, like it is a big question mark in Am Israel. If Yeshua is a Jewish or is not Jewish, it is like a big a question mark about this. From one point of view, we say that any Jewish can never lost his Judaism, but still happen what happened, and basically the nation of Am Israel don't see him like a part of Am Israel for different reasons. So, like we say, the sin starts with the damage that has to do with the soul of Israel. Then, after, because this, we make damage with the Torah of Israel, because when the things that are written in the Torah about Jesus
Yeshua.
about Yeshua don't fit what we believe that is true, so we make damage in the way we understand the Torah. And then, next step, we lost the land. Like I show the way it happened. Instead of being, we not live the Arabic, to become, we live the Arabic. Alright, so this. Now, my book, The Disengagement, it was 9 years ago. It was supposed to start in Tisha B'Av, the 9 of the month of Av. What is the day that the temple was destroyed twice.
First and second.
The first temple was destroyed in Tisha B'Av, and the second one as well. It was destroyed in this day. So Sharon, when he decided to do the disengagement, he didn't look the Hebrew calendar. He decided, he said, this will be in this date. And the date that he said, people told him, you cannot do it in this date because it came in Tisha B'Av. So he said, all right, we will do in Yud B'Av. He moved it one day. Really, it is an opinion that we have to fast today, because really the burning of the temple was more in the second day. But because it will be too hard for people to fast today, so they make it Tisha B'Av when the burning starts. But really, this is the day that it's still happening, the destroyed of the temple.
Destruction.
So, Sharon put the disengagement in this day of Yud, the 10th of Av. Now, I start to write my book again. I wrote it many times, but the way it is now, in this form that it is, with the name Yimar Shemo, I start to write it after Pesach of the same year. That was the disengagement. And we did the print, it was in Tisha B'Av. They put the cover in the Yud, in the 10th of Av. And I have the book in my hand exactly in this day of the disengagement.